if we still have a moment while things are being set up, but thank you for your patience. In the meantime, though, let me also bring up that Speedromizer has a shop that is open year-round. Everything from shirts and hats to novelty items, including mud stickers, bats, toasters, bags, pillows, bags, and all of the design you've come to know over the past, now 5 events. 20% of every item sold will be paid directly to Speedromizer and community, so get your hands on some fresh merchandise at speedromizer.live/merch. Thank y'all for your patience and waiting, but we finally have our next run just to go, so Halo Reach with mcthumbs, take it away.
Hello everyone, my name is mcthumbs. I am quickly filling in for our intended runner who unfortunately could not make it in today. I will be speedrunning the game Halo Reach on the easy difficulty. Without further ado, the time will start once I skip this intro cutscene in 3, 2,
Listen up, noble
1,
team.
and start. This is the first level, Winter Contingency, which is easily, for the speedrun, the most difficult in the entire game. I will be trying to do a couple of really difficult to execute tricks, and just kind of hope that I get them.
Could be the missing troop.
I can just do backups if I miss them, but I'm hoping to get them all, but at the very beginning here, we just kind of have about 50 seconds of waiting while we, basically the game gets us through a looking tutorial. And then we get out, and we finally have control of our character. The first little trick is we're gonna go up here and hop kind of on top of an out-of-bounds barrier to skip a little bit of walking, but it allows us, it kind of snowballs into another trick that we can do as well. In the bottom right, as you may notice, I kind of have in-level splits. These splits are what speedrunners use to kind of know what pace they're on an individual level basis, but they're also helpful because they enable medals, so that we can see who we kill if we can't really like see. Now we're going to do a trick that allows us to get a vehicle that we are not intended to have. Yeah, this... Alright, there we go. So now we just flipped somebody out of this Falcon, and now we kind of need to make a mad dash to this Spirit. And this is where we can get a lot of reverts, because we basically have to ride this Spirit into an out-of-bounds area, and we get it first try, very good. So now we are out of bounds. I'm going to switch over to keyboard and mouse, because if using keyboard and mouse, I can press down the A and D keys, which allows us to do a thing called diagonal flying. which saves a lot of time. It's a very fast method of travel. I'm gonna kill all of the enemies at this outpost, and now we just need to do a little bit of out-of-bounds flying, and this is just a major sequence skip, probably the biggest sequence skip of the entire run, and it's all just in the first level. So we're just going to do this flying route. So this flying route deloads one of our ally Spartans named Kat. She has a bit of dialogue before the game goes to load the next zone, but by flying in that particular route, she's usually supposed to be right here, but she is deloaded. And the funny thing is we can actually duplicate some of our own allies. As you can see, there are 2 Emils on screen. So a lot of funny things can happen when the game gets this glitched. That spirit right there just kind of dropped nobody. And we've done the hardest section of this so far, so now we just melee 5 times, which loads in the next area, and we're just going to sprint right in. And this is the last area of Winter Contingency. We're gonna backsmack an elite zealot. I'm gonna throw a grenade to try and kill a few grunts, but it looks like I didn't get very many of them. But it doesn't matter because I cleaned them all up. And we got a sub 5 WC, nice. Yeah, sub 5 is a quite difficult minute barrier to achieve, so I'm very happy that I was able to get that. On to Oni Sword Base. At the beginning here, we just have this big courtyard of enemies that we need to clear out. We're just gonna run past them, and we'll see why shortly. But we're gonna clean up a few of the enemies in between. We're going to grab this weapon called the Target Locator, which is kind of a missile barrage locator, which kills a whole bunch of enemies. I'll know if the level is ready to continue if that split hits. Usually that's supposed to kill everybody, but sometimes there's an enemy or 2 that are just outside of the blast radius. We're gonna use our plasma pistol to EMP this Warthog, and I did a third because if I don't, the Marine can drive into a blast zone and blow up this Warthog, which we do not want. So we just hit it with a third plasma pistol EMP. We're going to steal this Ghost because the Ghost is a bit faster than the Warthog in Halo Reach. And now we just have to go around the map and hit 2 buttons. One of them was right there that turns on an AA gun. And now we are on our way to a comms array.
Nice work, Spartans. Head to Farragut Station and get that comms array up and running.
If we have a moment for messages, I can definitely give one, if you like.
Yeah. Yes, for sure.
Alright, let me, in that case, I'll bring up Community's mission. So, Community's mission is to improve queer, trans, and two-spirit lives through support, connection, and leadership. They envision vibrant, diverse, and celebrated queer and trans communities where individuals are empowered to live their lives fully, free from discrimination. And thanks to your support, Community is able to ensure that no one in British Columbia is left behind. So as a continued reminder, if you'd like to donate to community, there is, you can type !donate in the chat, and you will be taken to a link to do that.
Alright, and we're coming up onto the next sequence of the game called Hunter Skip.
The rest of your team is inbound imminently.
Hopefully I can get a checkpoint right before this, because can be a little tricky. Alright, there it is. Not quite. This might take a couple of tries. That's just too far. So I'm trying to land just before a trigger zone in the ghost. And it leads us to drive a ghost as fast as we can to the next level. Usually in that little sequence, we are supposed to kill 2 hunters, which causes this elevator to turn on. But we go so fast that the hunters don't load in time. So when the game does a little check, it thinks that we have killed both hunters, so we are allowed to continue on. Up next, we're just going to do a few jumps to get to the top of Sword Base just a little bit faster, and I missed that one. There we go. Nice and simple.
Head upstairs and assist Emil. George, make sure he gets there.
And we're going to do a grenade jump. Just barely missed it. Grenades can help you get a little bit more height on your jump height. I did miss that one, but it's okay because we can just walk around with no issue at all. We have several Banshees and this one big Phantom that you see here, along with just a few random stragglers that jump from the Phantom. I'm going to use the target locator to try and take out the big Phantom, as well as a few extra Banshees. There was one hidden in the smoke. It's kind of hard to see those, but Emil looks like he took care of that for us, so thank you, Emil.
Noble team, longsword inbound and ready to push. Orbital defense is
and
standing by
yeah,
to take the
that's
shot.
Oni Sword Base right there. And on to Nightfall. So Nightfall is the fastest IL in the entire game, and it's all due to one trick that we do towards the end of the mission. It's one of the first tricks that was ever found for this game, and I will explain it when we get there, but the beginning is just a couple of grenade jumps. Basically, this game relies on a lot of just speed tech, such as slide jumps and grenade jumps, to go just a bit faster. Slide jumps, basically you use a slope as you're falling down to convert your momentum to forward momentum, which allows you to get a little boost of speed. And grenade jumps help you to get a little bit extra height, as I mentioned. So I shot at that Gouda 3 times. These big wild creatures are called Gouda. And you can get some pretty big boosts from them, but unfortunately that Gouda was completely disinterested in me, so I just kind of had to walk past him, no big deal. Just more sprinting and moving around. There's a lot of this level that we can just skip by running past it, because the developers made a lot of these objectives optional. Specifically, this objective, where we have to help these civilians from a Covenant invasion, but we can just run past them. And I believe that the reason why is just in case They have like a failsafe in case they die, but this failsafe is exploitable, in that we could just kind of run past everything.
Civilians.
We're just coming up onto one of the last sections, in the section where we have the skip that I mentioned earlier, called Forklift Skip. You basically just keep sprinting, and you're going to get to a forklift vehicle. Shoutouts to Bungie for putting forklifts as drivable vehicles in this game, because they are so fun to use, and this level is no exception. We put the forklift flush with the wall here. I think I was just a little bit off, and we can kind of just phase through, which skips a large portion of the mission. We would have to fight waves of enemies, a couple of hunters, but we skip all of that, plus all of the enemies in this section by doing the forklift skip. And now we just kind of sprint to the end of the level. And which will be coming up shortly in about 5 seconds. We jump on this rock and onto the end cutscene. And that's Nightfall. Onto Tip of the Spear. Now, Tip of the Spear has one of the biggest level skips in the entire game, called Auto-Scroller Skip. Unfortunately, it is so difficult to actually pull off that I will not be doing it in this run, unfortunately. But I do recommend, if this level interests you at all, to go and check out that level, because I think it is such a good watch. Amazing sequence break in that level, but at the beginning here, we need to kill 2 grunts in shade turrets. We also grab a concussion rifle from the elite there before our warthog gets dropped off. And we're just going to keep going forward.
I'm waiting on you, Intel. See what you can see. Carter out. 6. AA guns in visual.
And we're going to use a grenade and our grenade launcher to blow up that first AA gun. I'm going to try and do a little bit of a skip here. And I mistimed it, but that's okay. Usually you could get a good, if you time that a little bit better. I'm a little rusty at it right now, so I apologize, but you just kind of blast that ghost up and get it all the way up to right about where we saw us cross that bridge, which saves quite a bit of time. Saves about like 5 seconds. Now we just kind of use the ghost to go around and use the concussion rifle to jump up. Do a little jump here, like that.
An elite zealot, in fact.
A zealot? We're onto something big, Commander.
Eyes on the prize, Noble.
And use our concussion rifle to get a little bit of a boost to our Revenant.
Update 6. Scans show another Covenant AA gun ahead of your location.
And up next is the second AA gun.
By any means necessary.
There is a lineup you can do with a grenade launcher, but again, it has been a little while since I've last ran this game fully, so I'm just going to go up here and blow up the core up here. And what this allows me to do by doing this alternate strat is to ensure that these 2 hunters, that they'll blow up with the AA gun, just like that. We do get a little blinded here, but now we just need to basically clear out all of these enemies. I'm going to get out here. Pray that our Falcon does not kill us. So the Falcon, our allies, do not get damage drop-off on easy difficulty, unlike the enemies.
Only needs up
But
We're gonna fly you the rest of the way.
Joining the Falcon.
and I'm setting up for a trick called Early Falcon. Hopefully I get it. And just like that, I got it, which starts an auto-scroller. So just killing all the enemies here, jumping up into that rock, and getting into the Falcon earlier than we're supposed to, saving about 5 seconds. And this next section is just a bit of an auto-scroller, so if there's any sort of messages or donations that can be read, now would be the greatest time to do that.
Of course. And I was going to say, I believe in terms of what you were trying to do, but you got it first try, so I believe. Anyways, so if you'd like to donate to community, you can visit our Tiltified campaign at speedromizer.live/donate. There's a donation link below the stream. There's a you can also type it in chat. Type !donate in chat. All your donations are sent directly to them. So, and while you're donating, we have active challenges and polls. Definitely do not forget to put things down for those if any of them took your fancy. Let's say pledge an incentive for raising difficulty and stuff like that.
Stay sharp, sis. We're not on the canyon yet.
And apart from that, another little call to action kind of thing. If you've liked anything you see with Speedromizer, but you're thinking, hey, I want to help out with that, well, we have until applications open before the events. We announce them on our Discord, so definitely join that and keep an eye out if you're interested. If you're worried about your experience in doing any of these roles, don't worry about that. We will be happy to teach you and get you up to speed.
Okay, and we're coming out of the auto-scroller here. So we're just gonna run past all the enemies because easy difficulty is in fact easy. And just jump into our this little truck here. There is an enemy type called a Bob, who is a golden elite with kind of a unique helmet that can spawn randomly. They're called Bob Elites in the game's files. Those enemies spawn basically randomly, and their spawn is determined right off of right at the mission start. We're just going to use the fuel rod rifle to take out the rest of the enemies, and that is the end of Tip of the Spear. On to Long Night of Solace. So at the beginning here, we need to be as fast as we can. Make sure we don't lose our step, because we need to kill an elite that drops as fast as we can get him to die. So, we're gonna steal a plasma pistol from that grunt. And you can get it from the grunts on the left or the jackals on the right. The jackals on the right are technically faster, but there are only 3 of them, so there is a chance that they all have needlers, which leads to this little door skip, as we call it, to work. So we EMP the elite to get rid of his shields, which is something you can do when you hold down the plasma pistol, and hit him with a headshot, which kills the elite and skips the waves of enemies that drop from the dropship, so allowing us to just kind of run right in. And this little sequence, there's about like 2 minutes of kind of just waiting for doors to open and going through a little tutorial sequence, because we are about to go directly into space. So we are now in space, just like that. While I go through this tutorial sequence, if there are any more messages, feel free.
Welcome to Operation Uppercut. I'll be your
Here,
controller.
let me take date, but what?
Understood, Colonel.
Noble 6, these sabers have been
Okay,
customized for orbital defense.
I guess one thing I can also add, for people that are still wanting to know more about community, so their priority is to ensure that they continue to show up for queer, trans, and two-spirit communities every day. They are leading with stability, continuity, and building trust, and that is how they, as a community, support towards a province where all two-spirit, lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, deer, and queer, sorry, not deer, intersexual and asexual people to live free from harm and discrimination.
Alright, so now that it's going to continue to go through some dialogue, and there will be some enemies that spawn in. I am playing this section on keyboard and mouse just because flying is so much better on keyboard and mouse. But we're setting ourselves up to get the kills as fast as we can. Unfortunately, the chain gun has such a large spread that it can be pretty inconsistent. But by all means, that was not that bad.
Anchor 9er to UNSC ships. Impulse drive signatures detected.
And now we're going to do a lineup to get the Seraphs. There is an odd chance that two of the Seraphs will collide into each other, which is super helpful. And that lineup is like the best chance to get it, but it is still... We are still trying to manipulate AI by being in certain positions at the right time, so it is very tricky to get. But instead, we're just going to use a mix of our chain gun and missiles to take care of them. And next is the third wave of enemies.
Anchor 9 to all UNSC ships.
I'm going to use some tricks to get myself in a little bit better position. Wow, that was one of the best wave throughs I've had. Yeah, that was really good. Saved a lot of time. With that, and now wave 4, we just use our missiles to destroy these phantoms. Each phantom takes 2 barrage of missiles.
Marking high-value gunboat targets now.
And then now all we do is just wait for these enemies to... We can either kill them, but there are way too many to do it in time. Or we can just wait for them to kind of fly off into the distance. As they just did right there.
Anchor 9 to UNSC.
So that was a pretty decent Space 1. And this section is called Space 1.
Activating marker.
Holland to Bravo 029er. Noble 5, you ready to go?
And...
I'm out here.
Yeah, there is a glitch in this patch of the game where sometimes the leaderboard just kind of goes away.
Echo 1, all systems nominal.
Echo 2, good to go.
Echo 3, systems green.
Echo 4, all systems online.
Solid copy. We are currently jamming the Corvette's comms. Hit it hard while it can't call for help.
And we're gonna blow up those engines, which starts some dialogue a little earlier. Sometimes, like, if you don't kill those engines right away, it'll go, I think we should clip our engines, Colonel. Agreed. Noble 6, clip those engines, but if we do that fast enough, we can skip all of that dialogue, since the engines are already destroyed. And now we pretty much just clear out all of the reinforcements. I did have a bunch of extra because I was a little slow in killing those banshees that spawned, which limit the effectiveness of our friend the Savannah. And that some of these seraphs can be pretty finicky. And yeah, Space 2 can be very, very finicky with the AI. Since for easy, you do have to rely on your AI partner to get a bunch of kills randomly to be really, really fast, but by all means, that was alright. And then we drop back down, and we are invading the enemy ship. We're going to use our sword to take out those 4 elites. Then we're going to swap out to a plasma pistol. Give our allies some plasma rifles. These plasma rifles are stronger than the weapons they have currently. At the very, well, maybe not necessarily stronger, but they are better at using these weapons, which is kind of interesting. But we're just going to backsmack that elite, let the Marines take care of those grunts, and go around here, just clearing out all of these enemies. That elite, unfortunately, shot me out of my scope, but there we go. We now are on to the final section of Long Night of Solace. We're going to start by giving a Marine a sniper rifle, and we're going to a room called Globe Room. There's just a few enemies that we need to take out there. We're basically just stopping the Corvette from continuing to move by just cutting off or redirecting it. So we need to clear out the bridge, interrupt the nav controls. And here is the Bob that I'm talking about. That enemy is an extra enemy.
You're in deep with no cover. Get that Corvette moving and get the hell out of there.
This is kind of unfortunate that we got him there, but that was still a pretty decent clear. So now we reactivate a fueling sequence. What we currently have right now is we have a slip space bomb, courtesy of our Spartan friend George, and we're basically just redirecting this supercarrier to another, so that we can basically kill 2 birds with 1 stone, and kill 2 of their ships in 1 bomb blast. We're just gonna kill a few enemies here. And when he says this dialogue, we're going to grab our sniper rifle and our rocket launcher. And we're basically just, a bunch of enemies are going to come out of each of these doors here. We're just going to use a mixture of the weapons and grenades we have to kill them. So, yeah, that was actually fairly solid clear.
And stay down. bandaging a number on the door. There's no way back up to the Sabres. Level 6.
And that marks the end of LNOS. We are going on to the next mission called Exodus. So basically, between then and now, the slipspace bomb malfunction, requiring it to have to make it go off manually. So we fall. George sacrifices himself, and before he does that, we lock our armor, and we get thrown from space by George, who saves us. And because we are a Spartan, of course, we survive the fall from space. So we drop down, we're out of contact with our team, so we need to try and get back into contact as fast as we can. In the meantime, we're just going to help a stray Marine squad to evacuate civilians from the planet. So we're just gonna run past a bunch of suicide grunts. And, so another thing that is glitched about this version is that brute is supposed to be holding a civilian, but for some reason, his animation like glitched out in this version, causing him to not be holding the enemy that he's supposed to be holding. So we're just gonna clear out some of these enemies as fast as we can.
We're evacuating a group of civilians on the Fort Beloyans. As soon as they reach the cargo port, I'll send the elevator back up.
The enemies are being really finicky.
Somebody shut that damn thing off! Okay, everyone fight.
And that was all of the enemies, so now we can go back down. I am short a grenade, unfortunately. But we will make do. So now we just kind of go up here, grab the sniper rifle, and gonna snipe a few brutes out of the Phantom. Yeah, we're gonna have to go back in. Unfortunately, yeah, the enemies were, we got a bad Phantom spawn, which caused me to, not get a good lineup onto the grunts that dropped down. And then, because of my lack of grenades, I wasn't able to get all of the skirmishers in time. A little bit unfortunate, and we also don't... We wanted to get a gravity hammer, but we weren't able to, but we did clear out the enemies about as quickly as we could. So, all good there. Up next, we are going to be introduced to the jetpack armor ability.
Other side of the hall there, Lieutenant. Right to triage.
We're going to do some friendly fire so that we can get a dialogue skip. Rest in peace to that guy, but we really needed that time save. But yes, we just... It's kind of a introductory jetpack, basically like kind of a jumping puzzle. But we get so much jetpack that it's kind of not much of a puzzle. Plus, you can actually beat the section without a jetpack with some careful parkour and getting the gravity hammer from earlier, but it is a lot slower than just jetpacking across, like we do. we're going to grab a concussion rifle. It will come in handy later.
Here's the pad. East end of that tower. Other side. Other side. It's on the other side. Martin, over here.
We're gonna do some concussion rifle boosts to give us a little bit of boost of speed.
Yes, from above.
And do a concussion boost there to boost ourselves up a little higher. I think I cleared out all the enemies in time. Yep. So we need to go back and grab our concussion rifle. There are these enemies, but because we cleared out the earlier enemies, these don't count toward the enemy count. Now we're going to shoot this Falcon down to start the auto-scroller. This is another auto-scroller within the game. It lasts about 3.5 minutes, maybe 3 minutes. So if there's any more messages, this would be a good time to do it.
Yeah, of course.
Loaded up, ready to go.
If anything, let me actually bring up some of the targets, some of our incentives and some of the things that I mentioned earlier. So we currently have a couple of those. We have the potential for a 16-star race in Super Mario 64 with I think it is George that's doing that run, and also Croa. We're about halfway there. We have $228 out of 500. So definitely did donations in for that. We also have an incentive for Sonic 06, another of our free, runs coming up later in the marathon, to watch the Tit cutscene. If you haven't seen that cutscene, you need to see that cutscene. That cutscene's hilarious. If you have seen that cutscene, you understand why you should donate towards it. And finally, I'd like to note another of our incentives is for the Ocarina of Time file name, another future run. Currently, Shaq has a very commanding lead with $146.94 compared to our second highest option, Bone Club. So if you want to try to turn the tides or maybe get a different name, definitely get donations in towards that. As always, you can type !donate in the chat to get a link towards it, link to the whole thing, or you can go to speedromizer.live/donate, and you can get your donations in for community.
Mayday! Mayday! Negative! We're going down!
Son of a bitch. I can't watch this.
Fox Actual, should we send search and rescue birds?
Negative, dispatch. No point.
Also, as a small reminder of what is Speedromizer as you're watching this. So Speedromizer is a charity marathon with a twist. That what you submit is not what you run. Instead, the runners are given or randomly assigned a game from somebody else, and then you have 90 days to learn that game. If that sounds like a great concept, definitely join our Discord at speedromizer.live/discord.
So now we are coming out of the Falcon. So we're going to do a few boosts, and in this section there are 3 anti-air batteries that we need to turn on to end the mission. So we're going to... There's the first battery. Now we just need to get the other 2.
Sergeant Major, Covenant are banging on my bay door. I got families and wounded on board. I gotta get airborne. Easy 7 Echo 3.
There is a brute with a hammer who can do a lot of damage to you for some reason. It's kind of random, but luckily he left me alone, so I was just able to hit the button. And we had a mutual understanding, so I left him alone. And that is the end of Exodus into New Alexandria, which has by far the most RNG in the entire series. This is a very funny level. And
You're flying this fast.
Gonna switch over to keyboard and mouse to do diagonal flying.
Covenant have deployed comm jammers in high rises across the city.
It looks like we didn't get any banshees, but they can be like really bad. So like
Stand by, 6.
you can lose a lot of time. So we're just gonna instead just park our Falcon right in front of the hospital, which is the only objective besides the very last objective that we can that is 100% consistent and that we know about. The rest of them will be randomly determined. But if you don't use the Banshee, you could do that grenade jump I just did to skip dropping down. It can be a little bit risky, especially on higher difficulties, but on easy, because we tank a lot of hits, we kind of just run past all of these enemies.
As soon as you can, I need you back in your Falcon. Noble 2 to Noble 6, you've got incoming tangos.
If you had a Banshee, what you could do is summon another Falcon as you are as you're going through the level. And that actually triggers the game to teleport you out just as you finish the hospital objective, which is a very nice touch. So now we get a randomly determined side objective, and if we get Buck, we have to revert, because he is very, very slow. We can figure out which objective we get by looking for some phantoms in a few discrete locations, which is why I'm spamming the night vision, because it helps me see the phantoms a little better, because their outline will glow. And in this case, we got the jammer objective. So in this objective, we just kill a few enemies and destroy the jammer by pressing the button. And ideally, we would have allies here, but unfortunately, we did not have any banshees, so we couldn't summon a new Falcon to get more allies. And now it's either going to be Telecom or Synoviet, and it looks like we got Telecom. I'm gonna quickly switch over to KBM.
Telecom tower. Got hunters between us and the jammer.
Copy 2-7. Help is on the way. Noble 6, I'm sending you coordinates for the Viren tower. Go get those troopers unstuck.
In this, there is a jammer protected by a whole bunch of hunters. And they can be particularly annoying sometimes. But looks like they're kind of just stuck in a funny animation. So that works for us. Where it looks like they're kind of striking a pose, so that's pretty funny. That's pretty rare, and it's just kind of like an AI error, but works to our advantage. So on to the next side objective. Hoping to not get a bad checkpoint here. And we got Gunnery Sergeant Buck, so we have to revert. Unfortunately, Gunnery Sergeant Buck starts like a 2 to 3 minute auto scroller that we don't want to play through. And it's kind of a meme in this community because it's effectively this game's version of gambling. So we need to not get Buck. And in the ILs, it's a lot worse. I think this time... Okay, no. We did not get Hunters. And I'm shooting to delay a checkpoint since I don't know which objective it is 100%. It could be either of these two objectives over here, and it's brutes. There's quite a few objectives that start immediately. Some of them start after some brutes, or some phantom drops off some sort of enemy, or drops off a jammer.
We didn't make it, Lieutenant. Stand by.
Because these are optional objectives too, we can't just kill our allies instead of killing the enemies, which is a lot faster for a majority of these missions. So,
Mayday, Mayday! 7 Delta 19.
RIP to our Marine forces. But, again, we need that time save.
Request immediate assistance! Synovia Center is... Oh!
You still with me,
now we are on the final main objective, Synovia.
Troopers if you can, but get that jammer offline either way. This is the last jammer, 6. You're almost there.
We're just going to go up this nice elevator ride with some funny music. And, break out that window. And, once we hit this button, we're going to, wake up some of the drones in this area. But instead of dealing with them, we're going to do a grenade jump up through the window, and sprint away from all of them before they even get a chance to shoot us. And just go back to our Falcons and start the end of the level.
Noble leader, all jammers are down.
Solid copy. New order.
So in this final section, we need to destroy 6 jammers. But we can destroy the phantoms. Destroy this phantom before it drops off 2 of them. So we're just shooting at the critical spot, which are those engines on the left and right there. The rest of the hits you can just hit on the base. If you have allies still with you on the Falcon, this becomes a lot easier because they do a lot of damage to the Phantom. But unfortunately, we do have to do some of this ourselves. And wow, he is taking a lot of hits. There we go. I have not really seen that guy take that many hits before, but there's always a first time for everything. So now we just need to destroy the other shade turrets that were dropped off while we were destroying that Phantom. And there's the 5th one, and there is the 6th one. And that is the end of the RNG simulator known as New Alexandria.
Noble 6, you are one steely-eyed Spartan. I'm extending the landing pad now. Come home, Lieutenant.
Yeah, that mission can range from being 7 minutes long to 10 minutes long, and it's completely out of your control, unfortunately. It's quite a run killer in the full game runs, but now we are onto package.
Covenant owns this sector now, but they're defending for not a small group.
So we're going to kill that grunt for his fuel rod cannon.
Taken by surprise. This will be a hell of a lot easier. be a Scorpion that's still operational, 6. Take a look.
We're just gonna keep going forward through the level.
Time to go to work, Noble 6. Take out those guns. First target neutralized. Falcon, stand by. Nice job.
We use a grenade and a fuel rod blast to destroy the cores of the AA guns, allowing us to continue moving forward. Now, all we need to do is kill 2 grunts inside of AA shade turrets. One just kind of gets out as we approach it. The other we can headshot with our DMR. We give up our DMR for a plasma pistol because we need to get this elite out of his revenant. And now we pretty much just wait for Noble Team to come over. It takes about 20 seconds. And then they're just going to park, and when they park, they'll say some dialogue. Then after about 5 seconds, this door will open.
Good. Gates open, boss. 6, get over here. Cubbies all over the base.
And shoutouts to the Halo Reach rats that we just passed, but oh, I just barely got that grenade jump. That's a pretty tricky grenade jump, but yeah. We just make it through Sword Base. This may look familiar from when we did Oni Sword Base earlier. The Covenant have overtaken the area. As you saw, that we did leave a whole bunch of them alive, so it just makes sense. I'm gonna use a grenade jump to make it up to here. Use a health pack. And we're going to start the end firefight. This is one of the longest fights, maybe in the entire series, where we basically have to defend Dr. Halsey as she's getting ready for her package for us. The package is Cortana, and we need to deliver her to the Pillar of Autumn.
You'll need to reactivate them when they come back online.
But in the meantime, while she continues to work on Cortana, we gotta defend her, and the best way to defend her is to steal one of the Covenant Banshees flying around in this area, and then activate a bunch of defense turrets. Not only do these defense turrets do a pretty solid job of killing enemies for you, they also inherently save time because the more you have activated, the faster the phantoms come in. We're going to activate 3 of them right off the bat.
More time. Whatever you have to do, do it.
And we're going to laser 2 of the phantoms. And use our Banshee to finish it off. Now we're just going to use a mixture of our Banshee bombs and our plasma repeaters to take the phantoms out. This prevents more enemies from spawning and allows us to finish the waves faster. Not to mention that it does take some time if these phantoms do fly off. Because it does, like, the enemy check does check for the phantoms, and if they're allowed to escape, they do waste a ton of time. So we are able to kill all of the enemies there. And now we're getting some more enemy spawns. Yeah, by the way, these phantoms do spawn in a random order because Bungie just loves their RNG. We're going to pretty much do the same thing as before. Use a mixture of rockets and lasers on the Banshee directly, or the Phantom directly in front of us, which helps us use a lot less Banshee bombs to take it out. Now we need to hope this Phantom doesn't fly away. So a glitch that can happen when you are doing this strategy is that the enemy's data from Wave 1 will apply to that Phantom for Wave 2, which causes it to drop off one wave of enemies and just fly away.
Almost ready.
But we were able to destroy the Phantoms fast enough, which leads us to the final wave, where we only need to destroy one Phantom, and we're just going to use a mixture of our Banshee bombs and plasma repeaters to take them out. And there we go. We destroyed it in time. So now we just wait for the end of the mission.
Well done, Spartans. I'm opening the laboratory door.
And now we are on to the last mission, called Pillar of Autumn. So now we have Cortana, Halsey, and Truss us with the package. And personally, as a speedrunner, I think that's an excellent choice. So we need to deliver her to the Pillar of Autumn as fast as we can. I tried to get probably the biggest slide jump in the entire game right there, but I was just a slight bit off. But you can get an insane amount of distance on that slide jump. Before I forget, I am going to grab these extra rockets here, and then get into the Mongoose. I did mean to veer off to the right, which would be a little bit faster, but I kind of just remembered those rockets now. You can just get that rocket on the ground, but if you go inside the shed, you can get a lot more rocket ammo, which is definitely very useful for consistency's sake. We do make use of as much rocket ammo as we can, and at the end of the mission, but until then, we just have a Mongoose right there. So we do a little drop off there and do another drop off here, all while trying not to flip over or slow down, and we did that pretty much perfectly. So, which bypasses all of the enemies and saves quite a bit of time. Just gonna keep driving here. And we're going to have to jump over a gnarly gap. And when we hit it, we get a nice music cue. And the game cannot stop us from bringing our Mongoose further. So that is exactly what we will do.
So, if I can ask very quickly, just about how much do you think is left in the Rhine?
About 6 minutes. So, we've hit the cutscene, and now we are just down to Emil and ourselves. The rest of Noble Team has sacrificed themselves for the greater good, except for June, who gets evacuated off the planet. And if you read about the lore of this game, you'll know that he goes and trains some of the Spartan 4s from later in the game, or in the future releases.
I'll be on it myself.
But that doesn't really apply to us. We're just sprinting across this boneyard, sprinting across, going past a bunch of enemies, and we're going to shoot a rocket to get a grunt out of his ghost, as well as damage it quite a bit. This gets rid of the wings on the ghost, which allows us to fit through doors. If we had the wings still on our ghost, we would not be able to get through these tiny cramped doors. There's a lot of driving in areas you're not intended to drive in Halo. And Reach is certainly no exception with tricks like this. We're gonna go that way to oh, a bit of a lag spike, I apologize.
Keys to novelty. We're running out of time here, Spartans.
And we're just sprinting to the end fight.
We rigged the mass driver up top. We use that, the automatic no coverage fire should never make orbit.
There's a few enemies over here.
Clear an LZ. Meet you there.
There's one jackal way over there. I've never seen that. A lot of interesting firsts I'm experiencing here.
I'm in position. I'll take out as many drops as I can.
I have ran this game for quite a while, but some funny things. This game just amuses you in so many ways with its RNG. But luckily that jackal was no problem at all. Now we're just going to blow up this phantom with our laser. Use our rockets to deal with those enemies. We're going to try to get a trick called key skip, where when we kill this group of enemies, if we've done this firefight in a certain way, we can skip a bunch of enemies. Unfortunately, we did not get it. Looks like the enemies dropped off normally. By doing it in this certain way, we usually get the Phantom to get blocked by a Pelican. But it doesn't take that much longer to kill the rest of the enemies and wait for Captain Keys to retrieve the package.
On my way.
There is about just a couple of minutes left in the run. We need to, once we get this package delivered.
This is Keys on hot approach to Platform Delta.
We basically need to, Emil has sacrificed himself, and we need to help Keys evacuate. So we are going to run up to the Mac Cannon, and we're we're going to trigger the start of it. Kill a few of these enemies. Specifically, these zealots here. These are the highest rank of elites. And these guys can be a little bit annoying. And from here, instead of destroying the phantoms and banshees that come our way, we're just kind of going to sit back here and wait for about a minute until we are absolutely needed on the mat cannon. Alright, 8:07, so 8:39 is when I need to get into the mat cannon. I timed 32 seconds because after a little bit of time, the Corvette that ends the mission, so time will be coming up very shortly. 8:39. Once I destroy the Corvette. Yep, 8:39. And that's time. Thank you guys so much for having me on.
Yeah,
and that was
GG. Where can people find you, first of all?
You can find me on twitch.tv/mcthumbs. I do very occasional Halo streams. You can also find me at youtube.com/@mcthumbs14. I upload all sorts of speedrunning content on that YouTube channel. And thank you guys for having me.
Of course, of course. That said, that is not the only Halo thing we're doing, so sit tight. We have a Halo 4 run coming up, so be on the lookout for that. And until then, enjoy as we go to the intermission.